What's going on, everybody? It's Jackson from Dinger Dudes and JD Sports Zone. And today I have a very special interview with Memphis baseball alum and NC State baseball alum, Chase Nixon. Chase, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this interview. How's your day going, and how was the MLB draft week season?
Well, yeah, man, it was a great summer. A lot of fun playing with the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, meeting a lot of new guys, seeing familiar faces that I played against in the ACC and in the AAC. So, it was a really cool experience to get to see those guys that you have gotten to know over the years, meet them, and yeah, just build relationships.
That's awesome to hear that. Now I kind of want to start at the beginning of your career, almost well, pretty much the beginning of your career. You were a duo sport athlete in high school. Obviously, COVID year. I graduated the year after, so unfortunately, I didn't. I kind of experienced that in high school as well. You were a duo sport athlete in high school. Obviously, quarterback for your team and baseball as well. How did that kind of affect you with your personal baseball experience? Because I know afterwards you went to Pro 5 baseball, took a gap year. Kind of explain to me what your approach was on that.
Yeah, so all the way through high school, it had always been baseball and football for me. I loved football just as much as baseball. So it was always hard for me to decide which I liked more. And then got there senior year, had a great football season. And then obviously COVID hit. And I had to sit down and be like, look, man, with the options I had, I could have, potentially walked on and played football at NC State and played quarterback. I probably would have been the fifth or sixth quarterback on the depth chart. I had to have walked on and everything. So I had to sit down and just, ask myself, is football the right path or is baseball the right path? And at the time, and I still do feel this way, that baseball was going to be the path that, would help me get to play professionally a little bit easier than football was. And yeah, I feel like I made the right decision.
I mean, clearly it seemed to work out because you had a phenomenal year, a couple years at NC State, and obviously a great year at Memphis. Congratulations on that, especially with your collegiate baseball career. I do want to ask you, I mean, obviously you took the year off, obviously had some offers being thrown around, and I want to ask you, what led to your decision to start at NC State and then later to transfer to Memphis? And also, kind of a backup question to this, how did the change in programs impact your development as a player and as a person?
Yeah, well, look, man, my biggest thing is I want to win.
Hmm.
And coming out of high school, me being a lower ranked guy, a late commit, I wasn't really highly touted by many people, but I knew that I had some talent, and then in the right spot, I would work hard and earn the chance to play. And man, like at the time, I felt like NC State was bound to go to Omaha with the roster they had and what they had coming in as well. I was like, man, like what opportunity. I think the challenge of going into an ACC school and competing for a spot right away, and just kind of grinding it out there for a little while was very enticing to me. And yeah, man, that challenge was like out there. I was like, man, I want to go out there and conquer this. So that was probably the biggest reason why I chose NC State, and loved my time there. 3 great years, great coaches, great teammates, just a great atmosphere. And yeah, man. And then eventually got to the point where going into that fourth year, I was like, man, okay, I really want to go play professional baseball. Is staying at NC State the best thing for me in terms of play? And I just came to the decision where I had to move on. I needed to be somewhere where they would write my name in the lineup every day. No way fans or buts about it. Through the good times, through the bad times. And that was really the only reason why I left. I loved the coaches at State, Avent, Hart, Chrysler. Just all the guys around there as well. It was tough to leave, but I think I made the right call on that and got to go play every day at Memphis and learn about myself as a player, and as a person as well. And then getting to go playing out in the draft league where it's 46 games in 50 days, right? You learn a
Yeah.
lot about yourself, about your will, your mental toughness, and yeah, I mean, I truly learned so much about just myself and the way I approach things. So it was a great experience. All of it was. I'm thankful for it all.
That's an amazing response, and nobody's ever really truly responded like that because I know a lot of people in collegiate baseball players, when I interview them, they always talk about like, you know, where's the best place, where's the best opportunity. I feel like it's in any collegiate sport. Like you want to start, you want to play, you want to have the best chance to win. And clearly, you knew your approach heading into like the transfer portal. I mean, I want to kind of ask you about this because, I've asked a lot of collegiate baseball players, and I'm currently a senior at the University of West Georgia, and I know a lot of guys talked about heading into the transfer portal. What's your kind of like mindset in the transfer portal? Like, what do you mainly like, I guess, sort of focus on while you're in the transfer portal?
Yeah, well, for me, it came down to the two things of, hey, like, is this a good spot for me to play as a player, like style wise, the coaches gel here? Like, is it a program where I can go in there and trust, what they're teaching from a full, perspective of like, just baseball, and then just, things outside of that as well. I think it's important. And yeah, man, I want to go out and win again. For me, it was about finding the best spot where I could go out there and showcase my talent and be, you know, a big part of a team that could hopefully go to Omaha. And yeah, at the time, just looking at what Memphis had, and I was like, you know what, like they got a lot of older JUCO guys coming in. They followed that same um, Kentucky baseball approach, where it's like they bring in a lot of older guys in the portal, try to put together a team for a year, and hopefully make a run. And it didn't pan out that way for us, but I liked what they had coming in, and I was like, you know what, like this is a team that's not super highly talked about all the time, but I just looking at the roster and what they had coming in, I was like, you know what, like we can make a run here if things gel the right way and everything. And yeah, man, that just inspired me because at the end of the day, man, like for me, I want to go out there and play hard, but I want to win. That's just kind of the competitive edge that I was raised with. That I grew up and kind of learned with myself, my brother, and yeah, man.
I mean, that's truly an awesome experience. The only way I can truly experience that is MLB The Show. I mean, MLB The Show 25, you have the Road to Omaha version, and I truly like to pick Cal State Fullerton because I'm gonna hit 40
Oh yeah.
bombs. But yeah, for sure. But it's great to hear that personal experience for you. And you talk about adjustments, and I want to ask you because obviously you recently graduated college and collegiate baseball and stuff like that. What was the biggest adjustment moving from obviously the University of Memphis and college ball to the draft league with the Valley Scrappers? And how did playing alongside, I guess, other draft eligible talent challenge or inspire you?
Yeah, I mean, truly going into it, I didn't know what to expect of the draft league. So like that unknowingness motivated me to train super hard. Once I got done playing the college year, I took a little bit of time off to get mentally refreshed. But once that time was over, I went at a hard, hit a lot, ran a little bit, just trained, physically and mentally for the grind of again 46 games in 50 days. It is not easy. And it is not like the college year where in college you play 3 or 4 games a week. Um, in that league, you play every single day and you get a day off every so often. Like we played 13 straight days in the draft league. And there's not really a great way to prepare for that, in terms of college ball or even out of college ball. So I knew it was going to be a huge just mental adjustment. And that's what I credit mostly to my success in the draft league is being able to adapt, to adjust, to show up when my body's not feeling great, when I'm tired, when I'm pissed off about the last game, just dealing with things like on and off the field. I think that mental resolve and showing up every single day is what led to the season I had.
I mean, you had an amazing season with the Mahoney Valley Scrappers, and I love having conversations with guys who played in the draft league because I've interviewed a couple of Trenton Thunder guys, I've interviewed a couple Black Bears guys, and with this draft league, it's very interesting to me because you have a different roster like the first half, and then you have a different roster the second half. Obviously, clubhouse atmospheres with teammates is clearly going to change, and obviously the winner of the first half plays against the winner of the second half. So, I guess kind of my backup question to this with the draft league, like, how was it? Because you talk about adapting and making adjustments with this draft league. I want to ask you, what is kind of like the biggest piece of advice with adaptation and with this draft league that you kind of received during your time with the Valley Scrappers?
I think the one piece of advice that I would give to people is to never give up on yourself. There will be times where you face pitchers that you've seen before, or that you've heard about that are really good. It may get you, you may get them. I mean, you may go through your 2 for 10s, your 3 for 20s, like those times of lull where it feels like you just can't get a hit. And I think the thing that I would tell everyone is to just never give up on yourself as a player. There's always a way to keep grinding every single day. It's a very monotone answer, but truly, I think it's if you can really understand it, it'll help you in so many ways on the field and off the field, like in life. Just keep showing up every day for yourself, the people around you. And yeah, man, that's what I got.
Man, that's phenomenal advice. I mean, I wish I had truly applied that to myself in high school baseball and, because, a lot of people on the team, and I feel like just in clubhouse atmospheres, they like want to be the best. They want to make the top D1 teams like the LSUs, the Oklahomas, but they don't really focus on like really, it's not really about the destination. It's more about the journey. So I like hearing that experience from you. Now, I want to ask you this. Obviously, you grew up with a former MLB player as your dad, and what's speaking upon the advice with by the way, Nixon, big fan of him with the Boston Red Sox. Personally, I'm a Cardinals fan, so I kind of have a little beef with the Red Sox 2014, but it's fine. But what's the biggest piece of advice and I guess experience that you've kind of applied to your everyday life and collegiate career and heading into pro ball that you've received from him?
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, to go off slightly here, I have a really good friend of mine who's also a Cardinals fan, so it's a good running joke for us. That 04 year. But yeah, man, I think the biggest thing that he's kind of taught me is improvise, overcome, and adapt. I've heard that quote 1,000 times in my life, and I got it from him. He always, it kind of goes back to my draft league point as well of being able to adapt, to overcome, to improvise in places where you don't have the answers. Because you will go to places in life where you do not have the answers. You will experience things that you've never experienced before, and you have to be able to adjust and adapt. And that's, it's helped me out in baseball. It's helped me out a lot in my personal life, dealing with, things on and off the field. And yeah, man, I think it's just one of the keys of life, being able to improvise, to overcome whatever is that ahead of you, and to adapt to any situation.
That's awesome advice. And I feel like that can be applied to not just athletics, but just any sort of like occupation or career you want to go to. I'm gonna write that down to show to my freshman guys coming in over here. But all right, that's awesome advice. Now I want to ask you a couple fun questions before we wrap up the interview. I love asking fun questions like this. Obviously, you played left field, center field, right field. I mean, you were spread out everywhere in the outfield during your career. And, obviously you have MLB guys you watched growing up and stuff like that. Who is your Mount Rushmore of outfielders? It doesn't have to be stuck with a specific position, but just outfielders in general.
Wow. So Mount Rushmore. So are we saying 4 or 5 people?
Four. Four.
Four. Okay.
Let's go
Yeah.
four.
We'll go. I love Ted Williams, man. I think he's greatest pure hitter of all time. Man, outfielder's tough. I would throw Barry Bonds in there as well. I think he's the greatest player in the history of the game, albeit steroids or not. Like, there's one Barry Bonds. Um, I think my other two, I really like Bryce Harper a lot from today's game, and I like Soto a lot from today's game as well. Those are two guys that I like to watch, mimic a little bit, learn from them and their styles of hitting, and apply to my own game.
That's a phenomenal four. Yeah, no, I was gonna ask you like Harper over Trout, personally for you.
I think career wise, I think Mike Trout's had the better career. For my personal Mount Rushmore, like of guys not including my dad, I would say those four in terms of the outfielders. My favorite, you know, of all time outside of my dad is Dave Ortiz though. He's my favorite player ever. So
Yeah. I love Big Poppy. I got a couple I got a couple jerseys from him. I was hoping you'd throw a Cardinals guy in there. I mean, it's okay though. It's okay though.
yeah,
But I do want to ask you. You're obviously around the same age range as I am. I mean, obviously it varies when it comes to music taste. I'm 21 years old. And I see a lot of Big X the Plug on your page, by the way. So that's why I put it with the graphic. So I want to ask you, like, were there any hype songs during your collegiate career or like the draft league that you kind of listened to or artists that got you like really pumped before a game that you'd like to share out to the viewers?
too many. Honestly, just too many. I really like. We're going through an NBA YoungBoy's pretty good. When it's just like it's a lot of constant games having to get hyped up for. But yeah, I think those two guys are probably my pregame picks.
Hmm. I mean, I love NBA YoungBoy. I mean, like, um, make no sense. I mean, that's an obvious one. Genie, that's another obvious one. Like Big X the Plug, I feel like a lot of people hate on him too much just because he has the same melodic flow every
Yeah,
single song. But I love Big X the Plug. I love his country album.
I
You know,
do.
a lot of people put a hate on that. A lot of people put a hit on that as well.
Yeah,
And then I want to ask you this final question before we wrap up this interview. Personally, for you, like, what is I guess, biggest advice when it comes to high school players wanting to head into college D1 athletics, or just baseball players or football players? I mean, you were a high school quarterback in general. Like, when that comes to facing the challenges and like adversity when it comes to recruitment.
right. Yeah, this is always something that I knew. It was hard for me to put into practice when I was younger because I didn't really understand it quite as well. But as I've gotten older, I've started to understand it more and more. Have your whole foundation built in something other than baseball, and for me,
Mhm.
that's my faith in Jesus Christ. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. It's the first thing you see when you click on my Instagram page because that's what I want people to know me as. That's my identity is I am a follower of Jesus Christ first. After that, I'm a son, I'm a baseball player, a teammate, a friend. And yeah, man, just having your identity rooted in Jesus, in my opinion, is the only way to really go about this entire college journey of baseball and professionally as well. Because if you get caught up too much in what you're doing or who you're with, it just leads to you falling too much in love with that. And I think it can cause, a lot of heartbreak. If your sole goal is to play professional baseball and you don't make it, it can lead to, a huge lull and just, wondering of purpose. And for me, I've always had my purpose in Jesus Christ and honoring him, sharing his word across the world and impacting as many lives as I can.
Yes, sir. That's a phenomenal message, man. I feel like, a lot of people don't seem to put put their faith in Jesus Christ, and that's an unfortunate situation. I mean, the best thing you can really do is share the word and really, share the message and your personal experience with others rooted in Jesus Christ. So I truly appreciate that response when it comes to the advice. Now, Chase, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this interview, especially making the schedule change. It was truly an honor to get to speak with you, and I hope you have an amazing day, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure.